there are other things that in special ed make a difference to the federal government and the state, and one of them is where the special ed students get their education. The state of Illinois and other states traditionally have put kids in separate placements, small classrooms, and not educated them in the regular classroom. So one of the indicators, as they're called in the state, is they look at all the districts on where they're educating the students. And in this first one, it shows that where the students are in the regular classroom for 80% or more of the time versus out of them. What the state wants is 80% or more, as much as possible. And you can see by this year, the last bar, I believe, is the state of Illinois. The blue bar in the middle is Lake County, and then the first bar is Winthrop Harbor. So we have like 75, 78% of the students in a regular classroom receiving services, and the teachers come in or pull them out for just part of the time. The other one is just the opposite, where they're out most of the time. You can see now in 2010, we only have about 15, 16% that are out for more than 80% of the time. This one is looking, there's some data. The co-op in Lake County is called CEDAW, and all of the public schools belong to that special ed co-op. So they have an agreement with a research company to look at all the data for special ed and regular ed. And what this shows is through the last 4 years, the difference in performance meets and exceeds on the ISAT between students with IEPs, individual education plans, and those regular students who don't have them. And you can see at this point, by 2011, that gap is really closed. So we're probably better off than maybe 60% of the other districts, in that we have a smaller gap between those. Part of it is that, quite honestly, we have phenomenal special ed teachers who really, really, really just hammer the kids on the basics, the fundamentals. Part of it is that through RTI, some of the special ed teachers are working with some of the kids who need a little more help, a little more serious help, and they're able to work with them earlier and get them, better off on the remediation track.
I think I know it would be very easy for us to have gone through and just shown you, well, here's the good parts. Just compare ourselves to national norms, and we could look really good in pretty much everything we did. We look very hard at this data, searching for where are the problems, because if we don't find the problems, then we can't make changes. And so there's a part of it here that we're kind of like trying to be like Lake Wobegon a little bit, where all the women are, all the men are handsome and all the children are above average, right? So we're saying we want all of our teachers to be at that 75th percentile. I mean, that's an extremely high bar to be shooting at. And across the board, everything that we do, appreciate Dr. Geiser being the one that many times says, keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing to that higher and higher bar. And so when we've seen areas that we've had problems and gaps in, those are very serious to us, but also realize that sometimes we're talking about not making 75th percentile, I mean not making up to that upper quartile. So we don't want to lose the fact that in the midst of this there's a lot of good news. The first and biggest thing that we want to bring out tonight is that combination of the improved ISAT performance of our IEP students that Gary just talked about, the fact that gap is shrinking, and the combined district-wide meets and exceeds scores above 85%, meant that both schools, Westfield, North Prairie, and the district as a whole, made AYP, annual yearly progress. We are one of the few districts in Lake County to have accomplished that this year. And, yeah, thank you, Pat, because it definitely, and it is very, very hard. And our teachers worked very hard to do that, and our students did along with them. So appreciate all of their effort. And again, while we are saying, we need to work here, we need to work here, we got to improve this, we got to do better at this, we don't want to lose sight of the fact that we did achieve this as a district, and it is much for us and the community to be proud that we reached that goal.
Last year, we you get the results back at different times. We got the results for Westfield and it said they made AYP. We got the results for North Prairie and it said they made AYP. I called Jenny and said we made AYP. And then I got the results for the district and it said when they combined the special ed kids from Westfield and North Prairie, that group of special ed students didn't make AYP. So I called her back and said, I lied to you. This year, we got the results for Westfield and North Prairie, and we got the results for the district as a whole. And the staff did put a lot of emphasis saying, we're able to do this with the elementary and the middle school students. We have to focus harder on our special ed students. They have the same, should have the same opportunities. We've just got to keep pushing, and the staff was able to do that, so that this year we did, as a whole district, again, make AYP, so that was nice.
That's one more question. Do you communicate with the high school to see how District 1 students do on the ACTs, on math, and that kind of stuff? And do you have that sort of information available on the class so we can see? And realize that the kids are going to take them for 2 years, they got questions on software to deal with first. But I would be interested to see how, when they get to high school, how this translates to the ACT for our students in our district.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you in general, we've done very well in the ACT. I mean, our students are the ones who frankly make up some of the top math classes and some of the other top classes that occur over at the high school. But I can definitely share in general the data, obviously not individual students. Like
Right.
But yeah, in general, so I'll get back to you on that. So, and we sometimes include this. We're at like 35 minutes and counting, so we decided not to add too much tonight. Yeah, but we do have a couple more things real quick before we keep moving some path.
So our other piece of data was the math data. So, and our celebration here is that a large number of our grade levels are performing in the top quartile nationally. So they're at 75% or higher. 5 out of our 7 grade levels are at the top quartile in nationally in math. 5 out of 7 are in the top quartile in reading, and 4 out of 7 in language arts. And that's something to be proud of. We're going to have 7 out of 7. I wanted to just point out, I don't want to celebrate our K-1 population just because they don't have a growth norm available. Doesn't mean that their performance wasn't incredible. Our K-1 student performance was 85% or more met their target reps individually. So that's certainly something to celebrate and be proud of. So, okay, I'm still talking, all right. So anyway, but we always, we celebrate for a little bit and then we go, okay, now we got more work to do. And so that's certainly what we did when we opened up at the beginning of the year this year, is we took a look at our data. Actually, we took a look in May at our data, really, and said, what do we need to do? Where do we need to go? And so these are our district, actually, tonight. We really came up with pretty close to the same thing. Make AYP, 92% of our students meet or exceed. In math, I'm not as worried. We've had 90 percentile kind of, we've seen lots of the 90s in reading. We haven't had a lot of 90%. So that it'll be a gigantic push and effort. That means probably, like I said before, maybe 1 student or maybe 2 students aren't meeting. Everybody else is. So that's a pretty gigantic milestone, but we're shooting for it and going to work real hard to get there. In terms of math growth, we want our grade levels in the top quartile nationally. So we're comparing ourselves in each of the areas in each of the grades. Our goal also is to be better communicators and celebrators of our academic, social, emotional success, so that we're communicating and like I said, you know, we're driven by working hard and doing what's best for students, and sometimes we forget to say, gosh, you're really doing a great job. And so we certainly want that to be a part of it, as well as we got to keep working hard. And then in Westfield, we use another piece of data that really isn't an achievement data. We use it for driving instruction, and math is also for that purpose, but we use our K2 as a DIBELS assessment. It's very skill-oriented. It's very broken down skills on learning how to read, different things you need to do. And we target our kids as red, green, or yellow, and green means you're just at level. And that's really all, that's all that assessment's for. Do you have the skills necessary at your grade level? And so our goal in, with our DIBELS assessments is that our kids are in green. We're all in green. So we're all in grade level. So that's it.
Agenda items A through C.
Do you mind pulling out A so that
I can do that.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Can we separate them all? Just A, B, and C.
We can do that. That's fine. Okay, so we'll just skip that then, and we'll go to the approval of September 26, 2011 agenda and minutes from August 29, 2011 regular board meeting. So I will need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion. Second?
I'm sorry, any discussion on that? No?
Giorgio.
Yes.
Heine.
Yes.
Leach.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Young.
Sorry, yes.
Sorry, pass. Young.
Yes.
Zimmerman.
Yes.
Lambert.
Yes. Item B on the consent agenda, personnel. Hiring of the 5 listed employees. Need a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion?
Question on the before and after care people that we hire. Do we have a total here of what the annual cost